I will call the Paris Union High School Board meeting to order at 2:06 PM. I'm going to ask for a roll call to determine a quorum. Trustee Nelson. Here. Trustee Vallejo.
Here.
Trustee Stafford.
Here.
Trustee Campos. Here. And myself, here. We have established a quorum. Item 3.1, invitation to address the Board of Trustees on closed session items only. Are there any public comments at this time? None? Thank you. Item 4.1, adjourn to closed session. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Nelson.
You already seconded.
Oh, sorry.
Any discussion? Please vote. There we go. Item 4.1 is a 5-0 vote. And we will be adjourning to closed session at 2:07 PM. All right, item 5.1, the regular board meeting of the Paris Union High School District is reconvening at 5:39 PM. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Item 7.1, the board president will recess the meeting to conduct the regular board meeting of the California Military Institute Charter School. We are recessing the meeting at, all right, item 8. No. Yeah, the regular board meeting of the Paris Union High School District is reconvening at 6:09 PM. Item 8.1, revision adoption ordering of agenda August 21st, 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? See none, please vote. Item 8.1 is a 5-0 vote. Item 9.1, report out of closed session. Do you want to report first?
In closed session, the Board of Trustees approved the service of final dismissal charges concerning employee number 144993, a certificated employee by the following vote. Trustee Garcia, no. Trustee Campos, no. Trustee Stafford, yes. Trustee Nelson, yes. Trustee Vallejo, yes. That was it for my report out of closed session.
All right, in closed session, well, first let me say this. There was a lot of deliberation, but in closed session, the board took action to appoint Dr. Jose Arauz as superintendent effective immediately with a contract of employment to be approved at an upcoming regular board meeting. The motion was by Mr. Stafford, second by Mr. Campos, and the votes are as follows. 4-1, Campos, yes. Nelson, yes. Vallejo, no. Stafford, yes. And Garcia, yes. And that'll be all for report out of closed session. Item 9.2, district update by the interim superintendent.
Thank you, President Stafford. I've had the pleasure of kicking off the school year doing two main things, and one of them was what we call supportive leadership. There's a quote from Seneca that says, "Our fellowship is like a great stone arch," and what that means is that if you remove one of the stones that we all crumble, if we all can't lean on each other, we're not going to succeed. And that model just carried us forward through all of our planning to opening up the school year, and that mantra was taken by the school sites. And they did some excellent things that we started the school year. They balanced classes early. We made sure that we had staffing, thank you, HR. We had maintenance and operations handling priorities. And we really worked on the knowables. And the unknowables were things that people got promoted and people got, they left. And the district did a great job of focusing on the fundamentals. As we kicked off the year, we were able to set the tone of calling it back to basics. And what we did was we were focusing on best first instruction in the classrooms, engaging in rigorous courses, and setting the tone for student behavior from day one. And that really carried us through. We've seen the manifestation of that on classrooms. Been able to walk with principals and see the teaching and learning. And there's an environment being created right now where we're prioritizing and focusing during those classroom time. And it's already been impactful this first couple of weeks. So on behalf of me, I want to appreciate all the work that you've done. It's going to be a great year. I know we've gotten the nuts and bolts going, and it's going to carry us through all year.
Thank you. Item 9.3, CSEA President Helen Steinmack.
Good evening, President Garcia, members of the board, Interim Superintendent Mr. Williams, and Cabinet. Welcome back. We are often confronted with change, whether it be personal or professional. We don't like all to address it and even accept it. But nevertheless, it comes upon us and we have to make adjustments. PUHSD has been going through change. We don't want to say whether it's good or bad, it's just different. We look forward to different, no matter how it will affect us. In June, I mentioned that we started negotiations with the district on our initial proposal with special concern regarding health and welfare and salaries. We will be meeting again this Friday, and hopefully once the audits are complete, the district will be ready to discuss these important issues, as well as other forms of compensation, stipends, and longevity. Some time ago, we signed an MOU to review and revise all classified job descriptions. We have begun that arduous process, and we still have much to do if this is to be completed by 2025. We are continuing to meet with the district on problem solving, and we'll be having our first CRC Classified Relationship Council meeting next week. We started strong coming back this year, refreshed and ready to work. We are ready and willing to work with the district to improve morale with the hope to recognize our members for the incredible work they do every day in front and behind the scenes. Chapter 469 has experienced change recently. We have added 2 new people to our executive board, and like you, our membership will accept nominations later this year, and we will see a new executive board come January 2025. As we welcome change as an opportunity for growth, we reflect on how we have supported the goals and objectives of the board, the district, CSEA members, and teachers, so that we never lose focus that we are all here in education to support the students and parents in this community. Whatever change means to PUHSD, we are ready to be part of that process and will thrive on what different looks like. Thank you.
Item 9.4, PSEA President Jason Miller.
The school year has started out with a bang, a good kind of bang. The no cell phone policy is in effect and seems to be doing wonders in the classroom. Paloma is making an intense effort to follow the cell phone ban, but what is not being talked about is how students are being kept in class during class, which is also wonderful and amazing. The campus supervisors at Paloma are hitting it out of the park. There are hardly any kids out of class the whole day. Attendance and tardies seem to have really taken a jump and improvement with these intentional moves to student learning. Julie Blyde is doing an amazing job, and the staff is very excited at how smoothly this year has started. I'm highlighting Paloma because this is what I hope to see at all campuses. I've heard there are these kind of improvements at some of the other campuses as well, most of the other campuses. I'm hopeful this will especially be the norm at Paris High School since they have 2 principals. I would expect metrics at Paris High School to skyrocket. We will keep an eye on that. Mr. Campos mentioned that there's a vibe this year. I don't know what it is. There's a vibe among the student body this year of just positivity with the no cell phone ban, with the keeping the kids in the classroom. Many members have commented how they've been able to teach with such less distraction. I personally have had 0 earbuds and 0 phones in my class for 2.5 weeks now. So it really is working. Thank you for this time to speak.
Oh, I'm gonna,
Sorry,
I have a party foul here on my part. I neglected something in the superintendent's update, and I'm looking at Red Shirt Tech in the audience. We have a RAVE award for work that was being done prior to at the end of last school year, but he was not able to attend that board meeting, and so we brought him here. So my board party foul, I did not. So Maribel's going to come up and introduce the RAVE.
What were you saying about height challenge? That would be me. Yes, it's my pleasure to introduce Aaron Salas. Aaron, can you come up with us, please? He's our RAVE award. Joe, did you want to? No? Okay. Since he's in your department, Joe was. Come on, Aaron. All right, so I'm going to read this wonderful message that was prepared for Aaron. Aaron Salas has been working to create systems of support for the school site SIS Techs and our tech department regarding how to effectively use Infinite Campus, the district student information system. Aaron has gone above and beyond to help people one-on-one, created videos to show staff how to fix things in IC, and collaborated with our team on how to support the school campuses on the use of IC. Aaron's work has been crucial as he has been working with our SIS coordinator to clean up large amounts of data so that the district is accurately reporting to CalPads. The work to clear up data discrepancies and errors requires great patience and effort and skill, and Aaron's work is being recognized. Instead, it should be recognized. So thank you so much. Good job. Good job. Well, this is what's important. There's a certificate to Aaron. And then usually we take a picture,
we'll
right?
stand here.
Stand here. You guys take a picture. Let me see if James want to take a picture. You want to stand?
All right, moving on. Item 9.5, comments by the Board of Trustees. Trustee Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Joe Williams for stepping in as the interim superintendent while we were sitting there without one. We definitely needed someone to keep the ship righted as we got ready for school year and everything, and I felt that everything's been running very smoothly from what I've been hearing, and I appreciate all the work you've done. And congratulations, Aaron, for your RAVE award. I'm glad that he remembered before I spoke, so I got a chance to say congratulations. I'm glad to hear about it sounds like the cell phone policy, it will be a positive. I really hope it is. It's quite a distraction that we don't even think about anymore because it's just so much a part of our lives, and I'm really curious to see how this all shakes out and see what happens with it. So I hope to be able to get a chance to go see all your campuses as we go through and get a chance to see what's going on in your school sites and see some football games, volleyball games, all that stuff for here in the fall. And I think that's about it for me. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Vallejo.
I also want to first start saying that, Joe, I really appreciate you. I think you came in a time when everything was in a transition, and that must have been very stressful for you and for everyone here. And I think to have someone who didn't complain and just went to the work, that's something that I really do appreciate you for. So, Joe, thank you so much, because I know, can't imagine what you went through. But I really do appreciate you. I also want to say something that kind of comes to like my heart out here, but I do want to let let you guys all know, because I do believe in transparency. You know, I always like to be outspoken. And no matter what happens, I just hope you all know that, you know, I say it because I believe in it. And I also say it because, you know, I feel like there's no transparency left in the world in general. Like, that's what we typically see. So I just want to show you guys, like, the more transparency are, maybe the more we're more willing to understand each other from like any position that we are in. But I do want to let you all know, I do not believe that the superintendent search that we did was done in the most professional or fair circumstance. I believe we had really great candidates, and I believe that they were overlooked. And I do believe, from what we talked about months ago, is if we really did our own research and really did a good search on what kind of consultant firm we would have researched, I think it would have gone better. I know in my previous meetings, I don't know how many meetings ago, I did ask, like, what if we bring 3 different type of consulting firms, and there we can kind of decide there, and the community and staff would feel involved, knowing that we picked this specific consulting firm. Like, that was the point that I made before. I thought that would have been a good idea, and it didn't go that way, which I'm not surprised. But what I do want to let you all know is that I do feel like this decision was already made up from the beginning. I do believe that it was a very expensive consulting firm. But I do want to let you guys all know that regardless of everything that happened, what's done is done. I do believe now that, you know, like, we should just keep on respecting, we should keep on respecting each other. We must now redirect our energy towards really focusing on providing the best possible environment for our students and staff. We as a board have to put any differences aside so we can do the job what we were elected to do, and that is to assist the staff and also to empower them as well as the students and not control them. So I do thank you all for being a very positive staff. I know, regardless of the circumstance, you guys are very positive. I have staff that, like, the world is burning and you guys are all so happy, and I'm like, wow, I love that about you guys, and I need to learn more, way more from that. I don't know if you guys have seen that meme where there's like a little girl and then, like, behind her is like this burning house. I feel like you guys are just rock stars. Like, I can feel your pain and I can feel what's going on, but I really appreciate you guys just being 100% like, hey, whatever happens, happens, let's do it. And that's something that I really admire you all for. I also want to let you guys know that if you don't, in any situation, if you all don't like what's going on, you guys have a lot of power as voters. So much power, so much power. I know many people here do not live in Paris, but you guys have direct influence to a lot of parents and voters here. And I don't want you guys all to think like, oh, I should leave because the current circumstance is not where it should be. No, I believe that if we all work together collaboratively, and if you believe in elected leaders all over, and you guys help each other out, we can really create change. We can create great change on change that we want to do. So please do not give up. I understand if you guys might want to go somewhere else, but I can tell you that if we work here together, we can make back to what this district was before. And we all believed in each other. We all worked with each other. There was no politics or business. It's all about what is best for this community and this district as a whole. So please, in general local elections, please pay attention. Please pay attention, do your research, research every candidate. You can do your research on like what they previously posted on and voted on. So please do your research, because that's the only way change is gonna be created. And I'm more than willing to help all of us get there. So I really, really appreciate you guys for everything that has been going on. And I know we are going to have a great year, regardless of anything and everything that has happened. I know that we are a strong enough team to really move on. And I hope you guys can all feel what I'm feeling, and we can get this done. Like, we can make this district better, because I believe in you all, and I know you believe in all of us here. And I just want you to please pay attention to everything on what is going on, because I hope you guys never feel powerless, because you guys are not. You guys are very, very powerful, so please use it. Thank you.
Trustee Stafford.
Just want to have a positive new year, looking to do the best for our students and do things in our interests. We are the people that they look up to at this point in life, and they see us as the people that can help them through their challenges. We're all here to serve. And I just believe strongly that we're going to have a good year. I feel that good vibe too. So it's really, I don't know why. It feels like we're kind of floating a little bit on automatic, but we're not. You guys put in some hard work, and a lot of times it's not seen. And sometimes that's the best thing. You know, if you're able to work without looking for reward, then when the rewards come, you really appreciate them, and you know you've done the right thing. So I'd like to thank Mr. Williams for his hard effort and dedication, and all the cabinet. And we're going to have a lot of changes coming up this year with new personnel. We've got promotions that did take effect. We've got, even with our pools, we've got a pool new position there. I did have a question about that, but I guess that was, I'm not sure. I read the job description, but I had some questions. But I'll ask Hector about it. Yeah. Oh, it's action? I thought it was a consent calendar. But anyway, just a welcome back. I'm going to stay with you. I decided, and it's kind of confirmed at this point with the filings, that I'll be with you for another 4 years, hopefully. So I listened to the people that, thank you, the people that influenced me to say, you know, you have a lot to contribute, and you know this district very well. You've been here for a long time, and you know what standards that we work by. So thank you so much for all of you, and we'll see y'all throughout the year. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Campos.
Yeah, you know, I kind of like the CMI. You know, I want to thank all of you guys for the new and upcoming year. I hope you're as excited as everybody else, feeling the vibe that's out there. Helen, thank you always for your comments. You know, I know I can see that as you've gone along, your growth and how you deliver your message, and everything's very well thought out, and I appreciate that. You know, every time you speak up there, you definitely have my wheels spinning, and you know, cause me to rethink things and to think things about, and you know, and it's just good. So thank you for that, because I do appreciate that, and you were definitely listening. Jason, thank you so much for everything that you've shared as well. You know, one of the things I think that's really important is, you know, the no cell phone policy and the way that that's kind of rolling out, you know, according to Jason, is a testament, number one, to the administration and the staff. That's number one. But I think another thing that we overlook at times is the students. And, you know, the fact that the students are complying with it and it's kind of going over smoothly, that's extremely important. And I think the really cool thing about that is we all grew up without cell phones. And so we have that face-to-face interaction. And so I think what the kids will realize when they're putting their devices aside is that, you know what, face-to-face is fun. Talking to people, having conversations, laughing, just looking at expressions. And I think that as the year goes forward and on, it's going to be a good thing. You know what I mean? It's going to be one of those things where the kids are actually going to get something that they may not have had in a while, and that's that face-to-face interaction with adults, with other students, with other peers, and that's a positive. I mean, obviously that, to me, I think is extremely important. So thank you for that and for kicking off a good start. I know I've been to Liberty, been to a couple different high schools in the summer, kind of just bouncing around. And you know, the one thing I always want to mention to staff, you know, when I go on a campus, it's not there to nitpick instruction or this or that. I'm always looking to see how can we improve? How can we improve the facilities? How can we improve the environment? You know, what can we do? And so, you know, that's always my lens. And I rarely I think I've only gone into classrooms one time, one of my visits, and I don't do that because I know what it's like when someone goes into my class. It's kind of awkward. You know what I mean? All these administrators are there, and the kids are looking at you, and they're looking at them, and they're looking, it's kind of weird, and and you're just kind of like, okay, you just keep kind of doing what you do, and I almost, I almost ignore the administrators. I kind of look, okay, I continue on with what I'm doing, and you move on, and the kids kind of just like, okay, everything's fine, and they go on and move on as normal. Now, another thing, and I kind of want to touch on a couple comments that were made earlier. I think what people don't know is, in doing the research for the firms, every board member here had the opportunity to research firms. Everybody. 0 names came up. I recommended one, HYA, who we went with. Okay, as a matter of fact, I believe a gentleman in the audience, I had asked about the consulting. I said, hey, call me, let's talk. You have an organization. I'd love to hear about it. No calls, no communication, nothing. So I think people need to understand that everybody had that opportunity. One person took advantage of it. I did. Now, and I will defend that decision of bringing HYA forward. In the world of consulting, you might hire somebody for a superintendent, and there's a cost factor to that. And it's not cheap, right? Because you want to get the best person available. We're getting not only a superintendent, 2, I think, assistant superintendents, and an HRD person, all for one price. It's all wrapped up. So we got a deal. And these are important positions. And the process of screening and doing all that, it's a lengthy process. It's costly. We've audited the books because people were concerned about, what's going on with the budget. Well, we did our due diligence as board members. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Now, there might be disagreements out in the community. I understand that. But we're trying to be fiscally responsible because that's our fiduciary responsibility. If you look at our hires, we've hired a very diverse group, very diverse. And I think we've done a really good job in the hiring process. I mean, we're fortunate to have all these different moving pieces happening. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of things. Politics always come up with things, always does, right? And we all, to be honest, no one, you are your politics, you are your religion, you are who you are, right? And I think that's why you are who you are. You have certain thoughts. You can put all that aside. This is a simple job. In education, it's pretty simple. Stay down the middle. Do what's best for staff, for students, for parents. And I think that the staff morale, from what I hear, is good. Because we're listening to principals, we're listening to students, we're listening to parents, we're listening to staff. And we're trying to build a school district that is working in collaboration, that it's not all top-down. We're standing in the gap. You have administration and you have us. And by the way, hiring Joe for the interim, I think that was a great decision. It was a decision we made. And I think everybody's appreciated from what I've heard. Heck, the guy's quoting Seneca, you know what I mean? Like who does that? Like, Joe's the man. And we appreciate everything that he's done. And he was selected for that reason, because we knew what we had. We knew the value that he brought to the district. We knew that it was the waters were a little, shaky or whatever. But he came in and he stabilized that. We let him do his thing. He did his thing, and I think he did it well. And I think we're seeing those benefits now. So, I do agree. It's obviously an election season. Another thing, in some of the things we've done as a board, we made security one of our top priorities by increasing the funding to have more campus supervisors. We hired a law enforcement officer at Pinacati. Now, you can think whatever you want, and you guys all have your own opinions, and that's fine. Everybody up here has their own opinions. Many express it. But I'm telling you, I think if you look at the overall work that we've done, I think we've done what people elected us to do. And so I'm not going to shy away from the decisions we make. I think we've been fair. I think we've made good hires. I think, the new leadership that's coming in as our new superintendent is going to be a great choice. They're a member of the community, they've worked in the community, they understand the community, they've been in education. I mean, to me, it's kind of like, hey, you know what? Obviously, 80% thought it was a good idea to hire the person and was okay with the process. The process was lengthy. You know, we did have 2 separate days of interviews, long interviews. We got to ask questions. And we were given candidates, you know, I don't know how many total, but it was scaled down. We took the best from that group and we hired. Kind of like the way they hired Dr. Dobson at CMI. It was a collaborative effort. And I think that choice was a great choice. And I think that the decision we made today is going to be a great choice. Only time will tell. Well, you know, I don't have a crystal ball. So I don't know, but I do think that, you know what, we made a good decision. And so now putting all that aside, just know that, you know what, we're here to listen to you, to help you, to hear you and do what we can where we can. You know, there's a lot of things that are out there, you know, and I know as we ended last year, I know on my heart, Pinacati was kind of the biggest concern. And we want to make sure that the staff at Pinacati has everything that they need to make that place the place where kids want to go to middle school. And I think it's going to happen. It's going to take a little time, but I think we have the right people in place. I think we're going to have, you know, we'll see how the budget and everything ends up, but, you know, and I hope that the staff at Pinacati asks, hey, we need this, we need that. And we're not Santa Claus, you know, but we'll do what we can. We'll prioritize what we can to make sure that that's a safe school, that it's a thriving school, that it's academically sound, that our EL programs are growing and booming. And I've looked at a lot of the data, and some sites did really well. And a lot of the different targets, you know, because I don't know if you guys have looked at the dashboard scores, and I'm sure we're going to get presentations, but I've already looked at them. And so I think there's a lot of positivity looking ahead. And just understand, sometimes you might hear things that aren't true. And if you have questions, hey, you know, my card's somewhere in my pocket, or he always tells me to carry them. So, you know, ask me for my card, email me. Let's have a conversation, because I usually respond to most of them. So anyways, you know, that being said, I know that was a lot, but I do wish you guys a great year. You know, again, we're here to serve you guys, to serve the community. So just let us know how we can do that. Thank you.
That was pretty long. No, I'm just messing with you. I want to thank everybody for, one, devoting your life to education and to our students. That's number one. The sacrifices you guys giving the time up with your family and friends and your social life, that's big. I understand that. I respect that. Because I'm saying that because I see we have a new SRO over here, and I apologize, I don't know your name, but if you could please stand so everybody could recognize you.
She's assigned to Liberty.
And she's assigned to Liberty. I apologize. I don't know your name. Do you want to shout your name for them?
Yeah, it's first Stephanie, last Zamora.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Zamora. Thank you, guys, for your service. We understand that you put your lives on the line every single day, and we applaud you and thank you for sacrificing everything. I don't see Mr. Hammond today.
He had to be at Bears.
No worries. No, we'll talk later.
He's working, trust me, he's working.
Oh, gotcha.
Trust me, he's working.
All right. There's been a lot of comments going on, and I want to let everybody know, we hear you all. We hear the administrators, we read the emails, we take the phone calls, the unions, we listen to you all. We appreciate you all. You know, but I think, you know, politics and talk all aside, we're all here to be of service to our students first, then to the staff. Make sure the staff have what they need to service our students, because if they're not successful, we're not successful. And I think we need to come back to basics and touch on that again. We did appoint Mr. Williams, and I want to thank him again for your service, because what you did was very big. You know, we gave him some directives about holding people accountable. So accountability isn't just for classified and certificated, it's for everyone, including administrators. So there is a culture shift right now. There's going to be people who are upset, who are offended, but we have to get this right together. The only way we could be successful is we're all on the same page, going in the same direction. I know people are talking about feelings. When we made that decision, it was not based on feelings. We were very thorough. We made it loud and clear. This is not about feelings. This is about performing the duties of a superintendent. And I don't want to exclude anybody. I want to include everybody. the decision that we made was collective. Every decision that we make is collective. We do have dialogue, we agree, we disagree, we listen, although sometimes we're accused of not listening, but just because somebody says something and we don't change our decision based on that comment doesn't mean we're not listening. We do listen. I believe it's a blessing and a curse for me because I listen so much. I'm just like, really, am I really listening to everything? But I am, because that's what I'm thinking about. What is the positive outcome or the negative outcome of listening or not listening? So I think that's important. We all listen. And I want to say every board member here listens, regardless of what's being said. Until you know the person, you'll never get to know the man or the woman, period. I think this year we're going to be having an amazing year. I don't think I've received one email negative about how the year is going. Everything's been really positive. And the administrators that are emailing us, or at least me, thank you all very much. I appreciate you guys. That's huge. Of course, everybody's was curious about the superintendent trying to get information. I didn't respond, so nobody say nothing, or can't say anything about me giving you an answer of what's going on, because we barely made our decision right now. What else? There were some other things that I want to say that were really amazing. Oh, we got to do some site visits, got to visit CMI. Joe and I went to a graduation for the summer for the late graduates. I'm sorry? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you want to talk about that one?
Thank you, Board President Campos. We turned a negative into a positive. We had a student, due to some communication things and some misunderstandings, and that missed the summer graduation. And so that, with the help of Julie Blyde and Ed Services, really rallied together and had a little special ceremony for her at Pluma Valley High School. Originally, she was very resistant and said, no pictures, no pictures. But as soon as it started going over, she started posing with her friends and took over the camera. And so we took a negative and turned it into a positive. And, we really, the district and the campus set up herself for a memory that wasn't going to be there.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Williams. One of the last things I want to leave off with everybody is love conquers all. Seriously. If we want to make progress, whatever position we're taking in any circumstances, all we have to do is communicate. It's that simple. I have a nice reputation for communicating with anyone and everyone, even if they hate me. Sometimes it's my kids, but love conquers all. I want to throw that out there. Maybe we could take off and run with that and unify rather than divide. All right. So let's move on to item 10.1, invitation to address the Board of Trustees on non-agendized items. Do we have any? All right, thank you. 11.1, consent calendar, approval of consent calendar items. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Any discussion? See none, please vote. Item 11.1 is a 5-0 vote. Item 12.1, oral reports, semester 2 grades update. Education Services will provide a presentation.
Thank you, Board President. We're going to have Ed Services come up and present. There's two of them, so we're going to do them back to back. The first one is the semester 2 update, and kind of connected, since they were doing the work, was some summer school stuff. So Ed Services, it's up to you.
Good afternoon. Oh, I guess I should wait for the slide deck. And I guess it counts as evening. Is it working? Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I clicked.
Does this count against my 5 minutes?
Yes.
Perfect.
What are you looking at? That's going to be it? Okay. Sorry, I'll talk fast. All right. Good evening. Thank you, trustees, cabinet, and members of the audience. This is our semester 2, which is really our end of the year data for the 23-24 academic school year. I want to point out the overall pass and fail rate here, You'll see that for 23-24, that
There was a decline in the failure rate for students, down from 16.1% to 12.6%. It still fell short of our target of 10%, but we are making improvements. We knew that, it was a slow progress coming out of COVID. We're still feeling the effects of that. In an effort, and I touched on this last year, to improve outcomes for students, we really want to focus on being proactive rather than reactive. And I know that Mr. Williams laid this out when he opened up the year. Some of our vision and goals for this year are really focusing on best first instructional practices and rigor in the classrooms. And the way that we're going to do that is really by reimagining and developing our strong professional learning teams within the context of a professional learning community. So while, like I said, it continues to decline, we are seeing a vast improvement. I'm going to go quickly through here because you're able to go through all of the data and charts. You'll see that overall we are trending down in Fs, we are trending up in our pass rate for students. And it goes through, we have language arts and mathematics. We know that those are two of our key subject areas of focus in order to, this is what's reported on our state dashboard, and this can help determine success in the other content areas. We do see that there's a peak in 8th grade of students that are struggling, and I know I have great confidence under the leadership of Principal Jones at Pinacati to make improvements. We're already seeing great improvements in what is happening on that campus under her leadership, and the positivity and progressiveness in really working closely side by side with the staff to improve outcomes for students. We've worked closely with the Riverside County Office of Education to improve practices, and we'll continue that work side by side with Principal Jones. So what I really want to focus on, because while we are making improvements, we know that we're still struggling, and while there are some gains in some places, we know that we're status quo in others. We're anxiously awaiting the final data that reports on our dashboard from the CASP. Right now, it's preliminary data that we're pulling. I've been told by some colleagues at the county office that we'll start to get some strong data at our first instructional leadership network meeting in September. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they have, understanding that that's still it's still not the confirmed data, it's still embargoed data. I want to point out some of the things that we are doing, though, through interventions to improve outcomes for students. And I want to go back to the focus on our professional learning teams. And we're really focusing on the first two questions. I worked intensely over a long week in Sacramento with our administrative teams, our instructional coaches, and a counselor on really focusing in on what's going to be teacher-friendly to help them have the best opportunities for collaboration with each other, and how are we as administrators and as leaders going to support staff in what they need so that they can help improve student outcomes. So the first two questions of the PLT process are what we're focusing on this year, which are identifying essential standards and creating a scope and sequence, and in that process, creating quick, short, formative assessments that are going to drive what the teacher is going to do in the classroom, instructional strategies and interventions that are immediate and timely. Like I said, we're working with RCOE. In fact, today we had our kickoff with the geometry teachers across the district, both those that are teaching special education essential students and our general education students. Today they did a data deep dive into the previous dashboard, into TOMS, which is where we house CASP, into the actual CASP test. The next meeting will focus on re-examining standards in relation to that exam and understanding what the new framework means for instructional practices. And then we will come back to what that means as we go into the next round of CASP testing and identifying the essential standards. We also have teams working through the initiative of modernizing math, which captures the content, the spirit of the new framework, which is conceptual rather than just procedural practices, and really making math relatable to kids. No kid gets up and goes, I stink at math. You know, a lot of it is a confidence piece, a lot of it is experience. I'm sure some of you have had experiences, some of you have seen your own students or your own children experience this. And what we want to do is change that mindset around mathematics. And then finally, another component to it, while best first instruction is always what we want, we know that some students are still going to struggle. So what are we going to do for those students that are really struggling? And that's really the work that we're doing with our counseling teams. And once again, we're working with the County Office of Education. Our district counselor, Betty Tran, has been phenomenal in walking counseling teams through transcript analysis and identifying where students have the greatest need. And our goal this year is really to focus in on our 10th graders. We don't want to wait until students get to 11th and 12th grade and they're underwater. It's very difficult to come back from that. What we really want to do is help students initially and capture them right away before they start to feel like they just can't do it anymore. So that's where our initiatives are falling in terms of what we're doing with our staff. There's been a lot of professional development that we've been able to offer, even in English. We were able to partner with the Cal State, and they came in and they did a workshop prior to the school year started. It was very well attended for expository reading and writing. We have a pilot at the California Military Institute for MRWC, which is mathematical reasoning and writing course. And we also have now a pilot at Liberty High School utilizing the MDTP assessment to help teachers drive their, understand what students need to know and what they're learning and drive their instructional practices. So, and then we have one more pilot. I don't want to leave Paloma out. They're piloting, they have different classes that have been specifically designed to the student need, and there's movability, flexibility within that. So we found students really struggling getting into just a regular Algebra 2 trig. So we have an Algebra 2, and then we have a math analysis with Algebra 2 and trigonometry. And there's flexibility as students are like, wait a minute, this kid's really struggling. They might need to just focus on Algebra 2, or wait, this kid is actually really performing well. Let's go ahead and move them over. And so we're excited because that really captures a lot of juniors to see what the final outcome is with this pilot. So there's a lot of good things that are happening. They say go slow to go fast, but we're excited to see where we fall in June with all of, I mean, there's just a lot of hard work on part of our teachers, our instructional coaches, our administrators, and our counselors to really, you know, give kids the education that they deserve.
Before the board has any questions, I want to thank Ed Services for putting the presentation together, looking at the decline in Fs and the pass rates. As I think everybody here has a special heart for students who are in intervention, students who were not successful the first time, and Ed Services really focusing on what kind of interventions those are. Are they intensive? Are they strategic? Our ELs and our math, that has been a laser focus, especially when, you know, we sent teachers to AVID conferences and all that kind of stuff, and that training that came back. I know it's only been, you know, the first week and 2 days or 3 days of the school year, but we're seeing the work. We're seeing the work, especially for our students who were maybe not successful, and we're doing our best to prevent the need for, you know, seniors that are taking summer session to graduate. We're trying to, you know, we don't want to do a post-mortem at the 6 weeks. We want to do you know, grade checks for them every 6 weeks on in danger of failing, really reaching out for those students who need support.
And one way that we're doing that is that we are running live 9-week grades, because
Right.
that's that sweet spot to capture students before they can't raise up their grade. Sometimes 6 weeks is too soon and 12 weeks is too late. So that alerts parents to check Infinite Campus, and it almost functions like a letter 1 for attendance. It informs families of what resources are available if their student is struggling. And I know I might be going over time, but Mr. Campos, I know that English learners are a special population for you, and I want to let you know that the teachers that were at Pennant County Middle School requested to pilot the expository reading and writing for 7th grade over there with us, and the pilot specifically focuses on our English learners. The curriculum has been written to support our English learners, so we're very excited to see what happens with our English classes over there that are piloting such valuable curriculum.
Thank you. Actually, I noticed their scores actually were pretty good, which I was actually shocked that was really good. I was glad to see that.
Our kids can do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Question? Oh.
No, next.
Well, I had a math question.
All right.
So you mentioned the math nets at 10th grade, and so I guess my question is what's the emphasis? Are we moving towards, like, I know that kids hit a wall maybe in 10th grade, and I don't know if that's geometry or where they're at that point, but is the wall that they hit where they start to struggle in math with that higher advanced math, or is it, are we giving them options to kind of use or have classes that uses everyday math concepts, you know, that are practical in the American workforce? Because I do know that, like for me, I've always said 6th grade math is like essential. You don't figure out 6th grade math, good luck with the higher levels of math. But so I guess my question is, you know, I know it's 10th grade, and I'm glad that you guys are identifying a time to say, hey, this is where we got to start. You know, we're seeing the scores, maybe 9th grade they struggled, now we see them in 10th, and now we're not waiting, we're going to make sure that they get everything they want. But what is it that I guess, where's the wall, or what wall are the students hitting? Is it the advanced math, or?
We're looking overall in 10th grade, just to clarify, not just in math. When we're looking at math, we're actually starting back in the middle school level. Algebra 1 can be a determining factor for students because Algebra 1 is the foundation for a lot of the advanced math. While I'm not a trained math teacher, I know that geometry is separate. Kids can not be as great in geometry, but if they get the Algebra 1, that helps them get through their Algebra 2, their trig, and their pre-calc and their calculus. And so I know that we've been working at the middle school level, really strengthening Algebra 1, and we're intensely working with our Algebra 1 teachers as well. They're part of this, but we didn't want to isolate. So it's Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2. Those are those foundational math pieces. Those are our A through G math pieces. The MRWC that they get in there that we would like to expand upon beyond CMI for their 12th grade year is it's more applicable. It does combine all of the different mathematics courses, but it's made for the kid that isn't maybe the math wizard. It's made for the humanities kid that I want to go to college, I'm going to be a history major, I'm going to be an English major, I'm going to be a journalism major. You know, like my daughter, please just let me get through my statistics class and get my English degree out of the way type of kid. That class is really tailored. I've actually sat through lessons when it first came out with the professors that designed it, and it was very engaging and it was applicable. Now, the real life application, that's part of the mindset shift that we're working with the county on. That is part of the framework is I'm learning this information. Now, how do I apply it to what I'm really doing? And so that's where the shift's coming in. So even as they're conducting their professional developments, they have breaks within all of that professional development in which they're modeling activities that teachers can do with those higher level math concepts that do apply to real life. So there's things that probably we all do on a day-to-day basis that might take us a little bit longer because we're not relying on some of the higher level math, that they're able to go, hey, in the day-to-day, this might help you and be a lot easier. You know, we're not saying we're denying you a calculator, but there's processes that you can use that calculator and get to the end result in a much more efficient manner.
And I have one more question, I just thought about it when you mentioned it, and I don't know the law, I don't know how things work. I just know that in the past few years, the way we've kind of blended, at least in middle school, you blend, you know, pre-algebra and algebra and all that other stuff. But you mentioned the sequence of algebra, geometry, algebra 2. Now, back when I was teaching math way back in the day, we would hear from high school teachers that some of them felt, you know, math should be taught algebra 1, algebra 2, then go to geometry. Now, I don't know if you can do that legally or what. I don't even know. I'm just telling you what they had mentioned. I don't even know. But what I'm saying, I guess my point is sometimes, if possible, to think outside of the box and to pilot it to see if it works. I don't know. I'm not a math teacher.
That is the great debate, Mr. Campos, of math teachers.
Oh, okay.
That is
so you guys
great
have had
debate.
Okay. So you got it. Okay. So you don't need to answer. But I'm just glad that that's out there because I know that has always been something amongst them, and I would just listen, just kind of like, this is interesting, you know what I mean? Listen to math people, you know, they go after each other, but I just, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, it's outside of the box thinking, you know, when we started, and I don't see why it couldn't be done when we started to blend, you know, pre-algebra and algebra, and then algebra 1 with, you know, geometry, and I forgot what they call them, there's like weird, goofy math names now, but yeah, integrated and all that.
I was going to say, the other thing is integrated, but that also is Pandora's box. Because you have teachers that are either absolutely 100% go integrated and 100% absolutely not. We want to maintain traditional. I would invite you to our next math SAC to have that conversation.
Well, you know what, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind because you know what, the reality is how are we going to get the true results if we don't try both? You know what I mean? Let's have a fair competition. Say, hey, you guys that are integrated, you do it. You guys that are this way, do it. Have at it. Because at the end of the day, we're going to get data. You know what I mean? We're going to get data, and it's going to show us. Now, maybe one way is better than the other. I don't know. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things that I just think, thinking outside of the box, listening to those teachers who may want to teach a certain way because they have a passion that way, and that's the way they want to go. Well, maybe they can do that, and they can bring success out of students. So just a thought. But
No,
thank you.
I 100% agree, and that's why we've tailored courses at Paloma Valley. I think we have to think outside the box. We have to try things. There's no harm. I mean, we can't keep doing the same thing and expecting the same results. So I've always been an advocate of, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Let's track the data. At least we'll have tried. And if it's not successful, we'll learn even from the failures.
And,
I mean, we tried whole language. And
Trustee
that-
Campos, I can tell you that maybe some people who have been at Ed Services for some time are probably having some trauma on the discussion that happened with math, with the ongoing discussion on is it integrated or is it traditional? And then even years and years ago, not bringing up the past, but like settling on how they were going to do it and throwing the baby out with the bathwater and starting over. So this discussion about traditional and integrated never ends.
Okay.
So I'm going to be at that meeting too.
I didn't have that on the agenda, but I guess I'll add it now.
Hey, you threw it out there. But thank you, and I appreciate that, because I don't know what goes on, but, I just know kind of the conversations, and I'm glad to hear that we're having those conversations, because that's always positive and healthy, so thank you.
Okay, next.
So before we get started, I want to thank Dr. Cahoon for her work that we did for the summer graduation. She was able to kick us off. You board trustees were there. In your slide deck, there are some pictures of what went on there. It was extremely meaningful. It was extremely meaningful to me because I was able to give a little brief speech and quote some musical artists, including, ending with Taylor Swift. We slayed dragons together. And that was pretty fun. So I want to thank Ed Services, and I also want to thank all the principals who got those kids through to do that late graduation.
Well, in that vein, I do not feel like a tortured poet just yet. I had to. You're welcome. All right. So here we're presenting the graduation rates for our class of 2024. This was the last year for our reduced credits, with the exception of the provision that still is in education code for foster youth and McKinney-Vento and juvenile students. This year we returned to alt ed requiring 185 and our comprehensives requiring 225 credits. As of our 2024 graduates, we had 2,300 graduates this year. Last year we had 2,365 graduates. Before you panic, that's not because we had a decline in our graduation rate. That just had to do with our enrollment numbers. We did have 43 that participated in our summer school graduation. Tentatively, as of 2023 is confirmed. 2023 dropout rate was 143 students, and our tentative 2024 rate is 113 students. So we declined our dropout rate by 30 students, which is positive. Once I get that data broke down, I'll actually be working closely with pupil services to look at some of the cause of why the dropouts are there. Sometimes it's as simple as kids are moving and we don't find out where they're going. So it's just really communicating and putting together a plan at the sites to make sure that we are finding those students and we're putting the correct exit code when the CalPADS report pulls over to the state of California. And then this is our summer school enrollment. You can see that we had 965 total students that attended, with 1,198 courses completed, 5,990 credits earned. A lot of these were earned during credit recovery, so they had the opportunity to earn more than one class during a session. On average, each course per student costs us $323 for a student to recover over the summer school.
Over the whole summer school?
For one course.
Okay.
That's really a self-explanatory. My secretary decided to put the picture of me because she knew it would embarrass me. Next time it's just going to be you. So, Any questions from that event? It was a great event, and thank you once again, Trustee Garcia, for attending. And a highlight from that is that we did have a young lady from Paris Lake High School whose family did not show, and she was in tears. And Trustee Garcia and Mr. Williams took the time to stop and take pictures and try to comfort her and make her feel better. And then Ms. Ramos from Paris Lake was able to catch up with her and have a conversation to make sure that she was okay.
You guys did a great job, by the way. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions? Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item 13.1, general functions, quarterly uniform complaint report summary for April through June 2024. Keep going. 13.2, discipline, June 2024 monthly suspension report. Item 14.1, general functions, approval of communications proposal with 1655 Communications funded through the general fund in the base amount of $2,500 monthly. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
He said moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
One question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the point of this? Because I thought Candace was our PIO, right? Aren't you Candace?
No.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. If you can explain to me more
Oh,
how
yeah.
this came about.
Yeah, okay, so obviously with all the change that's coming on right now, we have a new superintendent coming in, we have, all the different cabinet positions that are coming in. I wanted to hire someone who is going to train everybody. And I thought it'd be a good idea to have everybody to go through the training because, the face of Paris Union, it could be the superintendent, it could be other members of the cabinet because, and I'll give you an example. So let's just say something went down with our tech. You know what I mean? I would think that Joe, it's Joe's fault. Joe would be able to explain and kind of be able to handle that and be the voice. He's the voice. He's our tech guy, and so he would be the one to be able to know how to address the media. He'd probably be the most well-versed in it and not putting maybe our superintendent or someone else who's not as comfortable in it. So I look at it as an investment in our cabinet and our superintendent. As you know, it's ongoing. It's month to month. And my hope and goal is once we get everybody established, that the trainings are for everyone. And so that everybody, personally, and I don't want to see anybody go, but, I also think it's a benefit for our employees, the cabinet members to say, hey, I've been trained in how to do this and how to be a public information officer, how to address certain concerns. And also to bring in the media context, depending on what it is, because sometimes there could be stuff out there that we just don't have access to. And I think this firm will have the access to get us what we need. And so ultimately, I think it's an investment in our staff. That way the burden, I shouldn't even say burden, the opportunity can be kind of spread throughout everybody. And then obviously, and again, this is all, it could be 1 month, 2 months, it could be 3 months. It could be, maybe we decide, hey, you know what, this worked out really well for our cabinet. And, hopefully we don't have to use it where they're in an emergency or crisis situation, but they'll be prepared on how to handle that. And if that goes well, then maybe we stretch it out to our administrators because our administrators deal with things on the fly. Stuff happens, and social media happens. And, for them to be able to have the presence, the poise to address the situation, say, hey, you know what, we had an incident, and however they handle it, they'll be able to, if they need to then make connections with the media or have a press conference or a press release, obviously they would go through the superintendent and kind of do different things, but sometimes things happen on the fly. And I just think that it's something that no other school district is doing. And I know we talk about innovation and creativity and all that other stuff, and I think this is just one of those things that is innovative, it's creative. We use the service for as long as we need it. And then once everybody we feel is trained up, we say thank you very much. You know what I mean? They go on their way, and now we have staff that's developed a new skill that they're all comfortable handling whatever situation. It could be, John Hannon with the security thing, or, I mean, it could be all kinds of different things. And so that was the intent. The intent was, because if we hire, and I didn't know exactly if Candace or who our PIO person was, but I know in the past, most school districts have a PIO person. Well, you're paying a salary, you're paying benefits, you're paying all this other stuff. And when do you really use them? I mean, I know sometimes they have other job duties that they have, but this is one where it's kind of like, hey, you've trained our staff. Thank you very much. We're done with the service. We don't have an ongoing salary. We don't have to worry about retirement payments. We don't have to worry about, medical insurance, all that other stuff. It's just, hey, we have an agreement. We pay you this, you do that. Thank you very much. Agreement's over. And we don't have any ongoing expenses, but yet everybody will have the training of a PIO. So that was the intent.
Any more discussion?
I mean, I think this is great, but I think maybe for later, because I know I feel like there's more pressing issues that we need to cover first. Like we still don't have our DEI department yet. I know mental health, like our wellness centers, we just kind of got that back, but I want to see what more we can offer. We don't have cameras to record these meetings, so I think there's more pressing issues that I think we should get through first. But I think this is a great idea. I just think maybe for later, and if we can we like pull this for maybe next month, and then I can bring other suggestions to these communication groups or these communication consultants?
Well, I guess my concern is, so when hopefully we have most of our hires in place by a certain time, and I don't want to kind of waste time. It was kind of like doing the audit. We didn't have a lot of time, and so we got to go through that. Now, again, I think suggestions when board items are popped out, if you review them, you kind of know what's going on. You can have those discussions with the president, with the superintendent. In terms of the delay, I just don't see the need to delay it. I mean, I would say that we just make a motion. It's you either give it a thumbs up or thumbs down. Obviously, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I think, we're here now, and this is the proposal, and we can just go and take the vote, or obviously have more discussion and then go from there. But those are my thoughts.
Any more discussion? So are we calling for the vote, or are we tabling this?
Can I move
Call
to
for the
table
vote.
it, or does it have to
Find
be?
out.
Okay.
Yes, who first and seconded it?
No one. She didn't motion.
She could make a motion to table it, and then they would have to consider it. I could add, if that's the direction of the board, which is, it's your purview. For board governance, the board does set directives and does set a direction, so to speak, not directives, but direction and goals and purpose and how to meet those objectives. So it's totally in the purview of the board to say that this is a big priority and a goal, and to discuss that. And then how that's implemented, you evaluate the superintendent on the effectiveness of that being implemented. So this discussion that we're having is totally in purview of the board, making sure that if you're setting a priority, you're setting some goals, and then we're tasked to make sure that we achieve those goals.
I got an idea. Why don't we call for the vote, and if it fails, we bring it back next month with yours. Or next month, bring yours as well. It doesn't matter to me.
And you guys don't want to table it? Or is that what you said?
Yeah, you can make the motion. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll try it out. I move to table this to see if we can have some more extra other consulting firms for it to be fair, just to see what else is out there, because this is just one of many.
An amendment, yeah, to table it. Yeah, because we have a motion in a second. So she needs a second.
Table it for next month.
Yeah, on hers first and then ours.
Second, we vote on the amendment. If she doesn't get a second, we go back to the individual. I'll second.
Wait for her. So yes means table and no
So
means no?
On your vote for this one, if you vote yes, you're affirming to table it.
Okay.
No would put you back to the start.
Mm-mm. What to do? So, before we vote, I do want to say this. If ever a board member has anything to present and you ask me to put it on, I put it on regardless of my belief. So whatever happens here, you're more welcome to ask. Yes. What just happened? So now, yeah, so, yeah, now we go back to the original motion. And is there any more discussion then? But I want to say again, if you have something to present, let me know and we'll put it on the agenda. So when Miss Anna's ready, we'll vote. Please vote.
It's the original.
Yeah, please vote. Item 14.1 is 3 yeses, 2 nos. Moving on to 14.2, general functions. Engagement agreement with Littler, did I say it right? Littler Mendelson PC for legal services funded through the general fund in the amount of $300 to $700 per hour. Is there a motion? All right, that's funny. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I actually have questions because it was hard for me to read this document. It's really hard for me. I don't really understand. So if Mr. Williams, if you can explain to us what this means?
I can explain you partially with when it comes down to, sorry. When the contract was shared with the district, we had, business services review it, look at some of the key terms for this engagement agreement with a lawyer. Originally, the pricing was just kind of broken out by just senior partner work. So that's not really standard way to do it. So business services got together and made sure that there was some amendment if there's paralegals and that kind of stuff. So what the board is requesting is to put specific items under a legal contract to be looked under. That's what the board has been requesting. So this puts this under a legal contract, protection of the district to look into some issues.
Don't we already have legal services that supply these functions that we were asking for? I mean, I believe that we already had a couple of different legal firms that we contact for different reasons. I thought we
Recommended
already
by
had
them.
something that covered this purview.
This was recommended by them.
This was recommended by those, which ones?
Not HY.
Huff.
Huff. There we go.
Recommended by Huff.
Thank you. Yeah, them.
I don't know, this is just more money and we're already paying for a communications firm and now you want to do more legal services. I think that's a lot just for this month's meeting.
So I know for me, it's one of those things where, when you're dealing with legal firms, different legal firms have different expertises. And so, obviously, if Orbach, Huff, and Henderson decided that this was up their alley, then they would, go ahead and take the services and not recommend. or
If I
suggest
could chime in, I'm very limited on what I could say except investigations.
Don't we already do investigations? Like if something were to happen, don't we already do that anyways? So what's the difference?
They're being recommended.
And I do also, I'll bring up something on our investigations. I know that in the past, when we've had some of the investigation companies that we've used, the investigations seemed very biased, and it didn't seem that they were fair. And so I think this is a different level of the investigative process, because obviously an investigation firm isn't a legal firm. That's why when we had the presentation, it was, the lawyer presented the findings of the investigation firm. And this isn't being pawned off to an investigation firm for whatever the reason is that requires these services. But at the same time, you know, we do several business with several attorneys. Like today, I didn't realize the firm that we were presented with today, I wasn't aware that we had them. So, and there's still, I think that's probably something we'd want to clear up, just to understand who we have on file for our attorneys, because we have several different ones, and sometimes. we're
And
getting
so
over-
for clarity with what we dealt with today, though that firm was already dealing with that issue, and the agreement that the board, or the directive the board gave the district was to finish out whatever litigation and then be done with those groups.
No, understood. Like I said, I don't know who all we have for what all reasons.
Okay, and I do have a question. You said that this firm essentially would take out the middleman of the investigation, and they would do it themselves. So we essentially are paying a legal firm to do the investigation themselves at a minimum of $250 for a paralegal to do this per hour? Well, the lowest level is 200 to 250 for paralegals. I'm just, this just seems like an outrageous amount of money for investigation services when there's supposed to be a law firm. You said that they're taking out the investigative portion of it, the investigation service portion of it. That's kind of what I picked up from what he was saying.
Well,
So-
okay, so.
So, I mean, if I'm mishearing it, please
Right. and so,
clarify.
I mean, I don't know if you want to clarify, but I'm not 100% sure that if we went with a regular investigative firm, they would do the due diligence for, I think, what's going to be required. But I don't know. I mean, that's,
And my question is, how do we know this firm would do the everything we're
because
looking
they were
for?
recommended by
They were-
council.
So when I had the conversation with our main law firm,
Okay.
I wanted the most not known in this area to get involved. So I wanted to make sure it was fair, and I asked for
So this
recommendations.
firm doesn't have any kind of ties to this area at all?
Not to us.
Not to our district you're talking about, okay. No, but you're not talking about just the area, you're talking about just our district.
Right, because I wanted someone independent, someone we could trust, rather than just go off of hearsay and get passed around to other attorneys.
I mean, if we're gonna be running investigations, I don't wanna get stuck with a $300 an hour bill. That just seems outrageous to me. I mean, if they're gonna use an outside company, we have no control over that company. I mean, and so why are we going with this company when we already have something in place? I mean, I would move that we table this and try to see if, I understand we have a recommendation, but I would move that we table this to look into other companies, because right now, I don't seem to be getting the answers to the questions that we've been asking, not with this particular bullet point right here. So, I mean, I'd like to get a little bit more information, so I'm gonna move to table until next month so we can get a little bit more information.
Second? It'll be the same process. Is there a second?
I mean, if we're gonna do investigative, I want that to be laid out in the contract too, how much they're gonna charge for investigative services and everything else as well.
Okay.
So currently,
No,
Ann,
no,
the-
I'm taking note of what you're requesting.
so currently Ann is making the change on to table this. And so your vote, once she gets it changed, will be, your vote affirmative is that you're agreeing to table it. Your vote no is to move forward to back to the start.
Please vote. Okay, so now we're going back? Okay,
She'll need to rework it.
yeah, hold on. Okay. Yeah.
To be clear, I'm not against it if
No,
it's.
no, whatever
necessary.
happens, I want to make sure you get that
Oh,
information
no,
as well.
that's fine. I just want it to be completely clear on that regard, so.
Right, so this is the original now? what's posted right now? Okay, so now we're back to the original language of 14.2. Any more questions? Seeing none, please vote. Okay, so 14.2 is a 3-2 vote. All right. 14.3, personnel, certificated personnel action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Please vote. Okay. 14.3 is a 4 yes, 1 abstain. 14.4, personnel, classified personnel action items. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second? Is that you?
No, I need a little more information on this.
Okay,
one.
hold on. Let me second so we can answer your question. I'll second. All right, any discussion?
Yeah, there was a particular position I was looking for that, I'm not sure. Let me look at this a little further.
Okay.
All right, I think we're going to reconvene, audience. We're going to reconvene. We're going to reconvene. Yeah. So we were able to answer Trustee Stancer's question. We can go. If you're outside, step back in, please.
You guys ready? You want to move forward?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're reconvening at 7:32, you guys. All right. Oops. So 14.4, we have a motion by Mr. Nelson, second by myself. Any more discussion? All right, please vote on 14.4. $14.4 is a 5-0 vote. Oh, wow, I didn't see that. My bad. Sorry, guys. Let me say that again. 14.4 is 4 yes and 1 abstention. And then it appears most people have left, but administrator?
They're free to go if they'd like. But
not a test.
if you want to stay to the finish line, we're probably there closely. I'm not going to judge you on the ending my first and final meeting here. All right, man. Thank you.
All right, 14.5.
It's not the end, though.
Personnel Memorandum of Understanding between the Paris Union High School District and California School Employees Association and its chapter Paris Valley 469 regarding revisions to the pool maintenance worker job description. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Was that you, Steve? Mr. Campos, sorry. Any discussion?
Yes, Hector.
We'll have Hector and Maribel come up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you not? Can you not?
So we have a pool custodian at this point that's been working the pools, right?
Yes, we do.
Is this eliminating, or is this that person going to a new classification?
No, it's not a new classification, so we're making some changes to the job description. We worked with CSA to make changes to the job description, expanding the cleaning duties that they're going to be doing. We're going to expand to have 2 pool workers. We're adding areas of responsibility that used to be, I have them right here.
I saw
We're
that.
adding locker rooms, pool offices, restrooms, and all the associated areas to that job description. Kind of like when Mikey had the pool at Paris High School, he did some custodial and did the pool facility. So we're not, we're changing and just expanding the cleaning duties and adding a second pool worker.
So that one, the pool worker custodian job description will be eliminated. There's not anybody that's gonna be in that position. We have the pool maintenance worker that we're just changing just to pool maintenance worker.
Okay, so that's all they'll do is pool maintenance, yeah,
And clean the surroundings.
and the cleaning.
Locker
Be-
rooms and.
And how many do we have in the just one for the entire district? So we're gonna have two.
Right now, we have one.
Well, I know all of our high schools have pools, so it's gonna be more work. I just wanna make sure we have enough people to cover.
We went from one 20-meter pool to four 30-meter pools, and they're different pools than what we used to have at Paris High School. These are a lot more modern, a lot more pumps, a lot more equipment. And another thing too is one pool worker to take care of all 4 pools in the district. I mean, we're a vast district. We're from Paris High School. Sometimes that pool worker has to make multiple trips to Winchester, to Liberty, to Paloma, go back to Paris High School. So what we're gonna do is add this second pool worker. We're gonna divide it up 2 pools each geographically, so they're not, running back and forth to their different areas as much as they are.
Okay.
It's the same salary. We're not changing the salary for this classification, so.
That was one question. The other, it talked about some underwater and swimming is, of course, they have to be able to swim. And that there was some underwater breathing equipment that they had to be able to use.
Well, as a certified, that doesn't change in the job description, but as a certified pool operator, there are some filters and stuff like that at the bottom of the pools that, if needed, that they should be able to, access and all that. But it's been my experience here in the district, it's been a very long time since I've seen a pool operator in the pool actually down there checking those filters.
Okay.
But
I would,
there's a whole process for that.
Right.
Yes, correct.
Oh, okay.
That didn't change, there's really only 3, locker rooms, pool office, and restrooms was added to the current.
So-
job
so we're-
description, And then the title just changed to see pool maintenance worker and custodian. So
Okay.
very, very, very minimal changes, but it was an MOU that we signed collaboratively and worked with the job description
Okay.
department with CSEA.
so it's adding a position.
Yes.
The current pool custodian can do these duties as written?
Yeah, so our current pool worker is a lady by the name of Ana Huerta.
Yeah, I know Anna.
She's our current pool worker, so she will have a second person helping her. We'll have the 2 positions. Another thing too is it creates a backup, right? Our pools are very delicate facilities. They need to meet health department guidelines. They need to be safe and sanitized and ready to swim every single day. Those pools can turn green very quickly. I don't know if you have a pool at home, but
With the sun, yeah.
having 2 people being able to back each other up. If Anna wants to take a vacation, right now we're having to work an employee out of class. But having 2 pool workers back each other up to make sure that our pools are ready and safe and clean to swim every single day.
I asked when we first started, was one enough? We're gonna cover all those pools? And, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
we're adding cleaning duties. We're going from 12 custodians at the high schools down to 11. So by having the pool workers do some of the custodial duties at these pool facilities, we're taking that away from the campus. And we're able to manage and balance our campus cleaning a little bit better.
Okay.
The pool worker will be managing the cleaning of the pool facilities.
And do we have any inside candidates that you think could be interested in that? Or you
We'll-
don't know till they apply, I guess.
We
but-
won't know till they apply.
Yeah, okay. Steve, you had a question?
So I just want to make sure, so the existing, their job or her job description is just changing.
Correct.
I'm sure that was all.
Oh, yes. that
Yeah.
was negotiated, yes.
I just wanted to make sure because I've seen some movies where they kind of change the job description to move somebody out.
No.
And I know who she is and she's.
Yeah, Anna does a great job, and trust me, when she found out about this change, she's very excited, because right now she's just all over the district.
I can imagine, yeah. One of the concerns, which hopefully this helps with, is when we try to make agreements with other cities, and of course, if we were to do use of facility, something like that, we have to be up to speed as far as our maintenance, and hopefully this would make us a little more acceptable. I mean, for the city to come into agreements, sharing the cost for the summer.
Oh, yeah.
What I want is the pools used by the communities for the summer. so people don't have to travel all over the place, and then they can't afford to even go to the drop zone for whatever they're
So
charging.
this summer, the city of Menifee actually implemented a program. They used Paloma's pool. It was,
Yeah.
ran through the summer. It was very successful. They didn't hear a peep out of them. They used the pool every single day. And, you know, the hard work of Anna, she's making sure the pools are maintained, chlorine levels, and make sure. And one other thing too is these new modern pools, you know, are bigger pools, more equipment, more things to break.
Yeah.
There's a lot more piping, a lot more pumps, a lot more things that she's actually become an expert on. I walk in, she starts naming off all these parts. I'm like, wow, Anna, you've really learned a lot from when you used to take care of that small pool over at Paris High School. So
Yeah.
kudos to her, and adding this position really puts us in a lot better position.
Okay, good. That's
Thank
what
you.
I need to know. Okay,
All right, thank you.
okay,
Thank you. All right, 14.5, any more discussion? See none, please vote. Fourteen point five is a 5-0 vote. Item 14.6, Personnel Memorandum of Understanding between the Paris Union High School District and the California School Employees Association and its chapter, Paris Valley, number 469, regarding the new job description of theater, audio/visual technician, and authorization to recruit. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion?
Okay, so the funding is
We'll say that one more time?
It's through the Prop 28
Here.
fund for the,
arts. And-
the arts.
Oh, okay.
It's a big long name for it, but
Yeah, okay,
By Works and
yeah, okay.
All right, any more discussion?
No.
All right, please vote. Fourteen point six is a 5-0 vote. All right, 14.7, Personnel Revised Job Description, Chief Human Resources Officer. Do I have a motion? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I'm just curious as to why we feel we need the change in description. The job description is going to be very similar, correct? But what exactly are we
So
changing?
it's not a change in direction for the board. So the board still has the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources as a job description. In 2014, for some of you who've been around, the board had changed a number of management job descriptions. It was unclear if they ever deprecated this Chief Human Resources Officer position. And so this gives the new superintendent and the board options, right? So some districts have a model where they have a Chief Human Resources Officer, and underneath the Chief Human Resources Officer, they have a number of certificated directors. The Assistant Sup of Human Resources position is still there. This modernized it. It gave some options. There's some disparate opinions about how job descriptions should be written with some specificity, or giving the opportunity to have some more general statements so you get a more talented pool. For example, there was a guy that I worked with who ended up being a superintendent in a district in Georgia, but they were in so much need that he was a retired Air Force colonel, and they brought him in, and he was able to right the ship. So for this, there is some level of experience. Of course, they need to be kind of like a really badass human resources person. Sorry if I'm saying that on the record. But this does give some flexibility of the board and the new superintendent's direction. They still have the assistant superintendent position, but given the board's direction, they could go in the way of a chief human resources officer model that we had for years under Leslie.
But the duties and responsibilities are all the same?
They're pretty much the same. There's some things that are required under Ed Code for the certificated management that work under them. And that would be a challenge that if that's the way the board wanted to go, that would be a challenge that would need to be addressed.
So we're only filling one position.
You're only filling one position.
So it's either one or the other, but it opens the door for more candidates.
It gives options to fly it that way.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All right, see none, please vote. 14.7 is a 5-0 vote. 14.8, curriculum resolution number 124-25, public hearing and resolution for pupil textbook and instructional materials compliance regarding the Williams Act material sufficiency for fiscal year 2024-25. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Oh, wait, public hearing. The public hearing will receive comments regarding the 2024 pupil textbook and instructional material compliance is now open at 7:45 PM. Are there any public comments? All right, see none. All right, the public hearing is now closed at 7:46 PM. Oops. There is a motion by Mr. Nelson and a second by Mr. Stafford to adopt Resolution 124-25, pupil textbook and instructional materials compliance regarding the Williams Act material sufficiency for fiscal year 2024-25 pursuant to Education Code Section 60119. Any discussion? See none, please vote. (14.8) is a 5-0 vote. Item 14.9, business authorization for purchase orders above $50,000, August 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? See none, please vote. Item 14.9 passes 5-0. 14.10, business authorization for the purchase of capital equipment above $10,000, August 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second. Any discussion? See none, please vote. Item 14.10 passes 5-0. Information items, 15.1 curriculum revised elective course peer tutoring. 15.2 business revolving cash report, June 2024. 15.3 business revolving cash report, July 2024. 16.1 is closed session if necessary. Is it necessary?
No, there's not.
Thank you. Item 18.1, reinstatement of student discipline matters. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Stafford, you made the motion?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Nelson, you seconded it? Any discussion? All right, see none, please vote. Item 18.1 passes 5-0. Item 19.1, other items by the superintendent.
Just one in general. I want to thank the staff for leading with me in this journey. I joked in the LCAP board meeting when you appointed me, I won't say the title of the book I told you it was going to be, but it was quite an experience, and basically said that the stories that we could have, I could say, so you want to be a superintendent, get your head checked. I'm joking, but I want to thank the district and the board for having the faith in me to be able to get us to this point. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's worthy, yeah. Item 20.1, other items by the Board of Trustees.
Nothing for me, thank you.
All right, Trustee Vallejo,
Nothing for me.
Trustee Stafford.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, Mr. Campos?
Thank you, Joe, and administrators. Those of you who've had back-to-school nights or haven't had them, I hope they went well, and I just wish you guys are able to kick off those back-to-school nights with a blast and, engage with parents and students. So thank you for all you do.
And myself, first I would like to say, Joe, thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you, and we appreciate everything you've done for us. and best of luck.
I'm still staying.
That's right, that's right.
That might have seemed weird.
I do have 3 comments I want to say. First, Mr. Tippy already left. Yeah, oh. Congratulations to him on his wedding. Yeah, so I wanted to say that. There's 2 things I want to say that is more directed to cabinet, but everybody's input really matters. So I've been running into councilmen and women and also Paris Elementary board members, and something that keeps constantly coming up is, how do we align our calendars to be identical with theirs? We need to find a way to come together, both districts, if it's a special board meeting, whatever it may be, but I would like to find a way to sync that up so it's easier on the parents. And then not only that, we want to start working on the curriculum so it just flows the way it's supposed to rather than 2 separate things. The other thing I would like to talk about real quick is, as a district, there are 2 schools I would really like to focus on. Pennacotty, reinstate the security and the comfort for everybody, for students and staff. That's a priority. Also, I would like us to do more recruiting so that way we stop losing students to Innovative Horizons and focus on that. And also, if we do that, we could focus a little bit more on CMI. Those buildings need some touch-ups. We need help. So we could, reach out to vendors, ask them to donate paint, any type of material to help us out. I don't know how you guys work that out, but I'm asking you guys, work your magic, please. And I know you guys are great at that. Yeah, we take donations, right? Is that how we have to say it? But otherwise, I want to thank you all. Welcome back, and let's enjoy the year. Thank you. Oh, the most important item, 21.1, adjournment. Is there a motion? So moved. Mr. Nelson, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stafford, is there any discussion? See none, please vote. All right. Item 21.1 is a 5-0 vote, and we are adjourning at 7:52 p.m. Have a good night, everyone.